Welcome to the Urban Workshop. I'm Brad Reed, and today we're going to be drawing a kind of fun picture. We're going to be using watercolor, some ink, well, you'll see. So I'm starting with doing some of the penciling. You can see I'm using a Dixon Ticonderoga. That's my favorite type of pencil. You don't want something too soft. You want a nice hard pencil because we're going to pretty much erase every single pencil line for this piece. Make sure if you do follow along, you can follow me on Instagram and tag me in your picture. And if you see it, I'll probably like it, and I'll hopefully be able to follow you back. As you can see here, we've got our Copic Sepia pens that I've got. I just bought these recently. They're basically just like regular fine liners, but they're actually a brown, so they're a lot less visible after we color, which is what I like about them. I'm sure there are lots of different things you can do with like texture and cross-hatching that you can combine with the black ink, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So now after making the line work, you can just go and erase all the pencil. So I'm going in and finishing all the line work. The main thing with lines is you want to kind of ditch the technique that you may be using right now, which is kind of the chicken scratch sort of thing. You kind of go back and forth with your line. If you're making a line, like that's not that bad with pencil, but if you're making a line with a pen, you're going to want to just go through very smoothly and outline exactly what you want drawn. Remember, less is more, especially for this type of pen. Next, we're going in with a Micron brush pen. It's just a black ink that's on the brush, and I'm going in with my Copic multi-liner to fill in all the spaces that we couldn't fit with it. Basically, we're using that instead of a water-based black marker, just so that the watercolor doesn't smear that. You'll see what happens when we smear water-soluble ink in a minute. So now we're going in with our watercolors. I'm using just a red, and I'm just doing a very light coat there. It's a bit red on the side of the face there. I did that by mistake, but we're going to fix that soon. And I'm doing a much more diluted version to kind of blend that into the white. And I'm just using I believe this is Brilliant Red. And I'm using a yellow ochre for the rest of the skin. You can see that it's got a bit of a nice gradient there. Doing that for both faces and all the areas on the piece where there's skin. And I'm just going in, since I'm using the red, I'll just fill in all the other red areas once I'm there so I don't have to wash my brush. Now we're going in with that water-soluble black ink that I was telling you about. So this is actually a Tombow black. So basically it's water-soluble. It's not like the alcohol-based Copic markers, and it's also not like regular India ink. I believe, I'm not really sure about all the water-soluble stuff, but this is just for sure water-soluble. It's like a washable ink. You can use Crayola, I believe. It'll have pretty much the same effect. You just may not be able to color in just as easily. So now here's the fun part. I'm getting the brush with some water on it, and I'm kind of blending for all the black into all those spaces there to fill in the whole thing. So this, it also kind of gives like a trademark watercolor look instead of that, you know, how a marker would seem, how a marker fills in all the lines really cleanly. With the water, you can see it kind of goes out to the edges. It's kind of indescribable. I really like the look of it. We're going to go back in the marker pretty soon just to fill in those areas, but here I'm just using some diluted black, diluted with water obviously. And we're filling in all the areas that are really in shadow with a little bit of that paint. Oh, and we're also using some red and some blue just to fill in all those boxes there. You can see the picture. It's a magician, and he's doing his trick. What I'm going for here is just like so obviously it's a kid doing the magic trick, and he's basically just kind of at home using regular supplies like these boxes, but he's actually pulling off kind of a bit of a miracle. That's what the main approach is here. And you can see here, not anymore, but I was using prismacolors, the pencil crayons, or colored pencils, just to fill in some of the areas in shadow. You can see that fixed the red part in the face. And I'm also using right now the black marker to fill in all the spaces that the watercolor missed. I was using a pretty large, well, relatively large brush, so I couldn't really get all those tight spaces in right. Now I'm going back with a warm gray and a peach and an ultramarine blue. Those are the colors of the Prismacolor colored pencils I'm using. And I'm just filling in more of those shadowed areas. I'm doing this for all of the boxes. I'm using a kind of textured look there. I'm not pressing quite as hard as I was before. I kind of like it. It adds some gradient there in the color. Now I'm going in back with my sepia tone ink, and I'm drawing a table and I guess it's a shower curtain on like a clothes line. This kind of, it shows more that they're not on an actual stage, so it puts that whole homemade look that I was telling you about. It makes that effect a lot more believable. I'm doing some really light colors not to kind of take away from the subject. And as you can see on the side of the leg, that that water-soluble ink, it kind of bled into the red. So I think I use a little bit of Copic marker just to kind of hide that a little bit there. But I'm using reds and browns of the Copics just to kind of give that look. And here is the finished piece. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and you can check out this drawing. I'll hopefully follow you back if you follow me. Make sure you subscribe if you like the video. This is only my second video on the channel, so make sure you comment down below to tell me if you kind of like what you're seeing. This has been the Urban Workshop with Brad Reed, and I'll see you later. Stay off the streets, kids.